Moving to D1, public hearing. Board consideration of district restructure that includes potential school boundary changes and/or school closure, according to ARS 1531-4A32. Ms. Gonzalez?
Thank you. Good evening, President Mr. Conchas, Governing Board, and Superintendent Dr. Mayes. Thank you for giving me this opportunity tonight to share with you about our Girls Innovation Academy and the restructure update.
If you could speak closer to the mic, thank you.
I will. I will do a better job projecting too. So I wanted to give a little bit of history to help explain where we are today. So back in 2017-18, not sure if you'll remember, but our district was facing declining enrollment really in an intense type of way that we hadn't before. And so we did a lot of work to better understand why. And what we learned was that it was about our neighborhoods, our community was changing. We had lower birth rates, people were moving out. So in true Alhambra fashion, we took the initiative to make some changes and to kind of reinvent the Alhambra design as it was. We combined some of our communities, we turned schools into K-8 communities, and then we launched our Next Generation initiative by creating even more opportunities of choice for our children. This is where GIA was created, the Girls Innovation Academy. The intention was to empower and promote pathways to science, technology, and engineering, and cultivate resourceful and resilient learners and leaders. We wanted to attract students from the outside, of course, supporting that loss of enrollment, but we also wanted to support our students within. We wanted to provide unique opportunities, and we knew that this would happen through the focus of teaching core instructional strategies and standards, but very much through project-based learning, where kids were using their creativity, design, and ingenuity. So began the planning, and in 2018, 2019, not sure if you remember March 2019, but it was quite a month. We were in the midst of planning for GIA. It opened its doors in 2020. We opened it as a 5th through 8th grade campus, and we had 11 students that year. Remember, it was pandemic, and online learning was most of the year until for us, 4th quarter, when we offered a hybrid option. This year, 2021-22, we were very excited to bring in those young leaders, those young learners onto campus, and grew it to a K4, adding K4, growing it to be K8, and really just making that heartbeat of GIA grow even stronger. This year, we also embarked on a 5-year strategic plan, moving our strategic plan into a current, relevant, updated, to meet our needs time. In our strategic plan work, it was very clear that one of our very serious responsibilities is to make decisions that are both fiscally responsible and in the best interest of our students. In our 5-year strategic plan, you'll see under systems and resources. Resources are the what. In a school district, this includes time, funds, assets, materials, staff, and any other things that are responsibly, equitably, and intentionally based upon needs, distributed in a sustainable manner to achieve the desired outcomes aligned to the vision and mission of the district. Again, that fiscal responsibility, but also to do what's best for students. Taking the serious responsibility to heart and acknowledging that we still continue to fight that challenge of declining enrollment, we knew that we had to take a deeper look at the sustainability of our Girls Innovation Academy as a standalone program. Through that analysis, it was determined that we would have to look at a restructure, a transition. Some of the numbers, and thank you, Mr. Huseman, for sharing some data with me. We learned that the expense to continue GIA as a standalone entity cost us this year an estimate of $531,000. The student revenue we get for the amount of students that are in GIA is roughly about $233,000. Understanding what these numbers mean to us and to the responsibility that we have, We knew that if we could maintain the integrity and the spirit of GIA as a program, but transition it to an already standing school, we knew that we had the potential to continue the growth of what GIA represents, but also to save our district approximately $298,000. So where would we move GIA to? And the answer was loud and clear: Choice Learning Academy. It is already designed to support what GIA has started on its own. It is a school of choice. It has different academies within it. They believe in project-based learning, that design, that ingenuity, that creativity. It allows us to maintain the spirit of the GIA program, to utilize the same types of machinery, furniture, equipment, innovation that has been started. And it allows us to continue the partnerships that Ms. Kim and the GIA family have worked so hard to create, develop, and to grow. Our staffing, we would have 2 teacher positions from the current GIA move with the program to Choice Learning Academy. All other employees in the GIA community would be able to have the opportunity to have an equal or like position within the Alhambra district. Through the discussion of this move, Ms. Enki Kim, the principal, Mr. Paul Ruiz, the principal of Choice Learning Academy, and Ms. Shauna Smithson, the outreach coordinator of CLA, have collaborated to deep levels with the priority of maintaining that heart of GIA as it moves as a program. They've talked a lot of logistics about scheduling, about space, finding a space, creating a space that withholds the structure and functionality that GIA currently is used to. Mr. Weiss is working to invite parents in to visit the CLA campus, so that way any concerns or worries they may have, the unknown, they can meet with him personally. They can experience the campus. They can get to know people. They can calm any concerns that they may have. They have also worked closely on what curriculum needs there would be in this type of transition, any kind of training that would be needed for this kind of transition, ensuring that the program is able to continue in the way that it has arrived to so far. Ms. Kim is also being supported with the logistics to the operations side of our district to ensure that all the necessary and important equipment, machinery, furniture, materials that is needed to sustain this program is moved and is timely, so that our teachers feel very welcomed and they feel that what they need is there ready for them at CLA. We recognize that these decisions, though they're necessary, they are not always easy on those that are impacted more closely. Ms. Kim has been working very closely with her staff, with her students, and with the families. Through this process, Mr. Ruiz and the CLA community have had the opportunity to learn and understand what this opportunity means for them. They're very excited. This just means more limitless opportunities for kids at the CLA campus. We are confident that though this is, again, not an easy decision to make, we are confident that our Choice Learning Academy will welcome in the family of GIA, and they will become one united family. They will learn and grow from each other. They will inspire each other, and that heartbeat of GIA will continue. That's the conclusion of my presentation, and I'm open to any questions. Hearing no questions, that concludes my report.
Wait a minute. I had to find the button. I have a new microphone here, so
Me too.
we all know how wonderful I am on technology. This isn't really a question. This is more of a statement. I want to applaud the efforts that Kim and her staff put into making, not Kim, saying he put into making sure that this program was something that would stand up and that would benefit students and families as well. I think our idea was a sound one. It just was bad timing when we brought it on board. at a time when COVID was, there were just so many things going on. I think moving to the Choice Learning Academy is a model that you see in our high schools and many of our other schools where we have small specialty boutique schools within all combined on one campus. I think this is going to be a good fit for GIA. I do think it's going to be hard for our families that are used to being onto a campus that has only 48 children to now be on a campus with more. But I have the utmost confidence in the GIA staff and the Choice Learning Academy staff that they will make it work. The building is big enough. There's plenty of equipment. There's plenty of excitement that's going on there. And I think it will not be the model we set out to have, but I think it will maybe even be better than what we set out to have. Because there are going to be increased opportunities that would not have been able to have had in the other location. So saying all that, yes, I want to again thank everybody for all the effort they put into it, and also all the soul searching and working towards making this decision that we're making tonight, which is not an easy decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Now I would like to invite up to the microphone for our first public comment on this issue, Ms. Aubrey Yankee Gomez.
You are? Okay. Awesome. So I can say that my 3 girls actually just enrolled this year into GIA. They did not work out well in the Washington Elementary School District, and it wasn't at their part. I can say that we worked hard with the schools. They'd been there since kindergarten, so it wasn't something that we made a quick decision to do. When we did move them there, I found out about it through a flyer that came in the mail the year before. And I can be honest with you, with the pandemic going on, I didn't feel like moving them anywhere with all the uncertainties going on in the world. Since they've moved there, they're completely different girls. And I can tell you it's because of the surrounding of women around them, the strength they're given by them, the power they're given by them, and the individuals they're seen as there. And I can say that I actually attended Simpson, which is now Choice Learning Academy. And I can say that also 3 girls out of my 8th grade class ended up pregnant. And I don't feel that that area is going to work well. I actually am an accountant in low-income housing, and I had gone through your annual report, and I had written all these pages, and I feel like I can't tell you anything that you don't already know about your numbers. But I can tell you that after 1 year of operating, seeing a deficit, you always go back and you analyze and you see what you can do differently. And I don't feel that it was given enough passion or 1 more year to try. Whatever the enrollment is that needs to be met, I myself and other parents are willing to work towards. I don't know if what I say tonight will make any change, but I need to tell my girls to stand up for what's right. And what's right is to allow it 1 more year to operate and to give the girls the ability to work towards it. When I let the girls' school know that they would no longer be attending Roadrunner, every teacher was amazed at the opportunity that they had and asked me, where does this school exist? They didn't know. Without this advertisement, how can we expect enrollment to be up? I had teachers saying, I want to leave my school now and find this, and I want to work there. My girls' friends are now interested, but their parents say, I don't know if I'll pull them at the end of the year. I would rather look into it for next year, but I have so many people who are interested. So we were heartbroken when we found out about it. I feel that I needed to come speak on their behalf, but also let you know that we operate 64 low-income housing properties that run off of tax credit and HUD dollars. And I could say 17 of them, every month, we have a chance of not covering a utility bill or maybe not being able to pay for some type of maintenance, but we find a way to make it work because those low-income residents deserve the same opportunities as others. And I truly don't feel that if we were in a different neighborhood, this decision would be made without giving it 1 more try, 1 more year. Even just to give a pilot of 1 year would allow for all of us to pitch in. I know that faculty is high, maybe parents could volunteer for times that it would be open. Maybe pick up, drop off, whatever it is. I think that we should allow us the opportunity to work towards it, because I can say that I don't feel, even working with her for only 3 months, that any other director can provide what Ms. Kim has to them. And my girls come home and they're happy after school. And it's not just one, so I can't just say one's being hit. It's actually 3 of them. And they get along. They enjoy their peers and the opportunities they've had. They've been on field trips this year. They've never been on a field trip since kindergarten. So I know my time will be up, but I just want to let you know that we're all willing to work towards it. I appreciate any work you guys have done about merging. But she called me last week and asked me if I thought about transition, and I told her at this point, I just can't accept that it's closing yet because of the amazing opportunity they've been given. It's just not something that I can accept. So I hope that you guys can also take into account everything they've received there. And it's not just a tough transition for the families. They're in a world of uncertainties, pandemic, everything happening, and now they're going to uproot and be at a different campus in a completely different area, and only 2 instructors will be going with them. That's a whole new world. So I just hope you guys can consider that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we have 2 email comments that Ms. De Ocampo will read both of them.
And the first one is from Melissa Payares. I want to thank Principal Kim and the Girls Innovation Academy for everything she did for my child. Last summer, when we were looking for a middle school for my daughter, we knew that it was going to be difficult to find a place where she would feel comfortable and not be bullied for how she looks or for her learning challenges. This is the first and only school where she actually wants to get up and go to school. I used to have to argue with my daughter every morning because she was too scared or anxious to go to school in a different district. My daughter says that she feels happy at school and comfortable around everyone and doesn't feel judged. Thank you to all the teachers and staff at the Girls Innovation Academy for all your help. We are disappointed to see this school move to the other side of I-17 and hope we can find the same type of school environment in the west side of the district. Thank you. And I have one more. And it is from Mr. Peter Day. I am reading these so that they will be part of the public record that's being recorded. My name is Peter Day. I have 3 daughters currently attending Girls Innovation Academy. I heard the news that GIA is closing its doors at its current location. I understand it is moving, but only 5th through 8th grade. I am glad it will continue. However, I would like you and the powers that control GIA's fate to please reconsider. As I have stated, I am the father of 3 girls attending GIA. 2 of my daughters were attending school in another district and they did not like school. They were students going through the motions. They were not inspired and even dreaded school. My wife knew we had to make a change for our girls. They started at GIA this school year and they love GIA. There is a friendly, welcoming culture at GIA cultivated by the whole staff. The GIA faculty truly care about our daughters' well-being. My girls are not students going through the motions anymore. They are learners and are inspired to learn. All 3 are excited about school. Their confidence has grown and they learn at home on their own. My girls needed GIA, the Girls Innovation Academy has exceeded our expectations. Girls Innovation Academy, especially in current form, is a great resource for the school district. I understand there are budget concerns to which I do not know specifics. However, GIA is a special place that is in its infancy. If GIA is nurtured, it will continue to grow, develop learners, and blossom into something spectacular as a great resource for the visionaries at Alhambra School District. Thank you for allowing me to read those.
Thank you for all of those public comments. That concludes our public hearing. We'll go to E, information items, E1, kindergarten registration update.
President Conchas, governing board members, Dr. Myers, Alhambra community. Good afternoon. My name is Raul Ruiz, and I'm here to present a brief update regarding our kinder recruitment efforts as they relate to enrollment for kindergarten. And I share with you that as we have worked toward recruiting kindergarten students, we have done so with the idea that we're not just securing students for kindergarten, but rather we are really trying to bring students to our community for the long haul, and that we see these kindergarten students as students who will be with us for the many years to follow. We had a kindergarten week during the time between February 28th and March 4th. And during this time, we had both in-person and virtual opportunities for parents. And we had, in fact, 14 opportunities for the in-person events along with 14 virtual events. And it was a huge success in those moments at our particular sites. Some sites hosting as many as 2 or 3 in different forms, different combinations, but really working to secure an opportunity for families to get more information regarding kindergarten. What we set forth as a set of strategies is that we began to make personal phone calls to all of our preschool students. We have a number of preschool students who are with us that in years past have actually left our district to go to other schools in the surrounding area, including a number of the charter schools. And we really sought to be thoughtful and reach out to those families directly. So our parent volunteer coordinators collaborated with folks from our Ed Services Department and others throughout the district to really identify those families so that we could make those very intentional phone calls and begin the recruitment efforts to them directly, because they are set up to roll right into our kindergarten schools. And of course, that continues beyond those efforts to include our current opportunities that we have with families, both before school, after school. Recruitment has not stopped. And so as I share this information with you, I highlight the kindergarten week that we had, that very intentional time, but I also want to share some of our ongoing efforts that includes dedicated kinder website. Along with those families who have already submitted enrollment paperwork, we're going to send a robocall with text, basically saying, hey, we're really happy that you've enrolled in our schools, so that we can get them as early as March to understand that we're looking forward to them and showing up on that first day of school. And that's not been an effort that we have done in the past. So a really intentional focus to say, we've got your information, we're looking forward to it, and given some updates regarding what they have to look forward to. We've also partnered with a number of local daycares in an effort to really secure some of those students and help them consider the many wonderful programs we have in our kindergarten schools. Our marquees that have been spoken about, as of late in front of many of our schools have some great marketing going on there as well, along with print materials. Cox social media campaign, that includes Cox putting information out there on our website, on websites rather, that advertises, and that has been wildly successful. In fact, I spoke with our Director of Community Relations just a short while ago before the board presentation, and he shared that we have just in the past week had about 700 additional hits to that website for kindergarten enrollment. So that's been very successful. Of course, we've created opportunities for parent orientations and tours and recruitment videos that you can find on our website as well. Some of the feedback that we've gotten includes, some really positive information from our principals. Mr. Lende from Gap reads, as a result of our recruitment efforts at Gap, we have 15 kindergarten students already registered for next school year, leaving 10 spots left in our kinder class. And there are a number of other testimonials there from school leaders that have shared their very positive experience with those kindergarten recruitment efforts. And then, of course, you're probably wondering, what has this done for us in these past weeks? Well, as you can see there, those are the totals for each of our schools, with ATS leading the pack there at 64, and this is as of last week. But with a total of 238 students who have submitted registration paperwork, that's pretty good, and we're really excited about that in this early stage. And I share that because a number of principals will also share that a good number of kindergarten enrollments come in the middle of the summer. And so that we can celebrate 238 applications and enrollment packets that have been submitted up to this point really does demonstrate that we're on our way to securing a fairly healthy kindergarten enrollment. Unfortunately, what I don't have is a similar piece of data to compare for last year, because last year we didn't approach it this way and have these particular types of information to present. But I will also share that this is roughly a third of what the first day of kindergarten enrollment was this year. So with that in mind, and with the continued efforts along with that wave that does invariably come during the summer, we do expect that we should have a fairly healthy kindergarten enrollment. So with that, I'd like to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Ruiz, in terms of our Alhambra Online Academy, of course, you know, there's zero, but it's also, in my mind, probably a sign of the pandemic. Could you speak a little bit more about anything you're hearing about trends, or if we will have a kindergarten class for the AOA?
Yes, we absolutely expect to have a kindergarten class. Unfortunately, I can't speak to any trends at the moment. You know, with as you've probably been briefed regarding our current standing and the decrease in infection rates, we're only now seeing such a decrease that the trends might start showing and presenting themselves in the coming weeks and months. So preliminarily, I can't unfortunately speak to that, but I will share that we do intend entirely to have a kindergarten opportunity at the AOA.
And then my last question is, in terms of Valencia, there was one on the spreadsheet. Do we know if this community is continuing the welcoming of refugees from different countries? Because I know that those types of placements aren't up to us. We really just are able to do what we can. And so do you know if they're going to any other districts, or do you have any information on that?
Unfortunately, I don't have any information specific to our refugee population and how that's trending outside of our own boundaries. Only can share that the opportunity will continue to exist at Valencia for us to welcome all of our refugee community families, and we'll continue to serve them as you know, as they present enrollments.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
How many kinders do we have right now, approximately?
I can tell, I can look it up. I can't tell you in the moment on the spot, but as I mentioned, we had 700 and some change on the first day of school, but I don't have that number in front of me. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That gives me an idea.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll shoot a text to Dana here in the next couple of minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions? Mr. Huseman, do you know the answer to that question? All right. It's okay.
1,045.
Oh, there we go. 1,045. Thank you, Ms. Billio.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And we are going to go on to E2 textbook adoption update. Tanner Kent and Rosa.
Good evening, President Mr. Conchas and governing board members, Superintendent Dr. Mayas, and Alhambra community. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you tonight with an update of where we are in our history and social science textbook adoption process. Some of the background that went into the need for this adoption process included a review of our current standing of where we are in our programs. And thank you. And our last adoption process for social studies was back in 2009. Also, we had a change in the state Arizona standards in 2018, which also included some of that need for us to really get caught up to where we are with our state standards and that expectation, and provide really the most high quality resources for our students. We're currently utilizing a supplemental program in K-5, and in our grades 6 through 8, we use open educational resources such as Big History Project and iCivics. So all that went into some of that consideration. And as we formed this amazing committee that represents, our district and many of our educators throughout our schools and also our district office, which you will see here on the presentation, we really dug into a lot of that research of the different programs and the needs that our students are going to be best served by having a really comprehensive updated program. So our purpose has really included that ability to identify and recommend those a comprehensive program or maybe programs depending on what's best for our kids in looking at that spectrum from K through 8, and make sure that they have an opportunity again for that high quality history and social science education that's really going to serve them beyond their current Alhambra experience, but in life and further, as they continue their educational journey. So that's been really exciting to really dig in deep, lots of really good information and review of our current programs. And so I'd like to invite Mr. Tanner Kent and Ms. Veronica Barrick, who have been really demonstrating amazing leadership in co-facilitating the process with the committee. So I will turn it over to Tanner Kent, who's our next generation of teaching and learning specialist.
Thank you, Rosa. Our dedicated committee has undergone a process that follows all of our district policies, our best practices for textbook adoption, which includes our committee selection, the distribution of our RFP to our publishers and interested parties, all of our committee meetings, including our public display of materials that are located right outside of this room for any member of our community to review. A timeline is what you see in front of you, the formal committee process starting in January, moving throughout this school year. A lot of pre-work that goes into this, even before December, to construct that RFP, solicit our needs, looking at our data as a district to determine what our purview is going to focus on for this adoption process. As stated, that public review period is currently undergoing. We've received comments, even from some of our governing board members. It's also something that's been made available to our teaching staff electronically so that they did not have to commute down here in order to review the materials and provide their comments. I'm going to turn it over to Veronica, who's going to give us some more details about the committee structure.
We have been having ongoing meetings using a rubric tool that was developed that includes our diversity and inclusion standards that we've come up with in Alhambra, different learner supports, making sure that whatever curriculum we choose will be able to meet all of the needs of our learners. Assessments are history and social sciences themes, chronological and spatial thinking, as well as our skills and processes standards. We did get brand new standards in 2018, and so we're wanting to make sure whatever curriculum we choose does hit all of those standards, including the skills and processes standards. And we have our remaining committee meetings. We're going to focus on filling out the rubric tool, as well as reviewing public comments, which, as Tanner mentioned, all of our materials are located in the room right across the way, and we are accepting public comments all the way until April 1st, which, okay, so all the way up until April 1st. And like Tanner said, they have been available since January 31st. The publishers that we have been looking at include Cengage, which also is National Geographic, the DBQ Project for document-based questions, Houghton Mifflin, Harcourt, Inquire Ed for K-5, McGraw-Hill, K-8, Savas Learning K-8, and Studies Weekly, which is the supplemental program that we're already utilizing for K-5. So we're looking at all of those programs.
As Veronica mentioned, our public review period does close April 1st. That's one of the next steps of the committee, is to review all of the comments that are received from our public, from our teaching staff, that weighs into the committee's ultimate recommendation to the superintendent, which would then come before you in the next couple of months. We do have some publisher presentations to hear from the publisher reps directly, them advertising their program, on top of the numerous hours that our committee members are spending poring over pages of materials, online resources, so that we have our vendors the opportunity to present to us. This will culminate in a final scoring round to deliver that recommendation to our superintendent, who will bring it to you. Once you approve that ultimate program or programs, there's a lot of work that follows of making sure we've inventoried our materials that are received, barcoding those materials, and getting them out to our teachers, on top of the implementation support to provide professional development and ensure that it's successful for our students. So with that, I'm happy to turn it over for any questions that you might have.
I have a couple questions. The first one, the standards of 2018, those are state standards, is that correct? Okay, that were received.
That
Okay.
is correct.
And so we're updating according to the state standards. Okay. The second thing would be the publisher presentations, would they be open or is it strictly closed to the committee?
They are closed to the committee,
Okay.
just for them to have scoring during that time.
I'm sorry, say
So
that
the
again?
committee can score the presentations
Oh, okay.
and have internal dialogue and conversation.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and extend my thanks to the committee. I think that's really hard work to do a textbook adoption. I will say that I'm a little disappointed there weren't more schools represented on the committee. I think that we're heavy on district level administrators being on the committee, and maybe that's a sign of the time that teachers have so much going on that they weren't able to make it. But in the future, I would hope that we would see more teacher representation. I was impressed by the variety that was provided in this little room over here. It was mind-boggling to try to go through it all. Again, I applaud you for trudging through all of those materials and then listening to all the conversations that are going to come up as we move forward. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if I could just share, any teacher or certified member from any of our schools who expressed interest in participating was able to. So nobody was turned away.
Oh, I am fully aware that you didn't turn anybody away.
Just one question that I have, and I think I know the answer, but I know that we've been throwing a lot at our teachers and our administrators in our schools during this pandemic. Lots of different standards, lots of different curriculum, variety of different things. Can you tell me, and maybe in just your own personal opinion, if we're ready to take such a drastic move and move and adopt new standards and new curriculum for social studies?
Certainly. And I would love for Mrs. Barrick, a current 8th grade social studies teacher, to answer that from her perspective.
When I heard your question, I knew I had to answer it. The standards are standards that we've been using since 2018 when they were first adopted by the state. So those ones are not new. The only thing new is the curriculum. And I can tell you that 6th through 8th grade teachers have been begging for an actual curriculum. And so they're really excited and they need this curriculum. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holcomb.
I do have another question. So I see some of these are 6-8, some of them are 4-8, some of them are K-8. Is there a possibility, I want to know how they flow together. So if we picked Inquire Ed at a K-5, does it match with what's going on in one of, has that something that you've talked about? Because there's a potential of having 2 different companies. And we should pick the one that's best because the needs of a 6th, 8th grade standards in social studies and history are going to be different than a K-5.
Absolutely. And so that's a conversation that happens in the committee as far as program continuity. The transition that happens from 2 different programs, perhaps one in K-5 and one in 6-8. And our team is very cognizant of that, looking at does it benefit versus the cost for a student cognitively to adjust to the new routines of a program. And so if we were to adopt a program that was only 6-8, finding a complement to that program for K-5, there's the very real potential of adopting a K-8 program.
Okay. And then we've been working very hard to have project-based learning at our school sites. Are we looking through these materials through that lens of project-based learning as well? Because that's important to us because we've put a lot of time and training into making sure that we do have sites where we have project-based learning.
In our request to our publishers, we've actually asked them to specifically address not only project-based learning, our traditional model, our online, as well as IB. And so they're talking about from each of those lenses, how their program benefits or could support those models.
Oh, good. And thank you for reminding me of our other choices. Thank you.
I have one more question. So the timeline of adoption, what is it split? Will it be all at once? How's the timeline going to be?
Thank you for that question. So we have consulted with our superintendent team and our leader, Mr. Raul Reese. And as of right now, in our communication to the staff, our goal is to begin our first implementation with our 6th through 8th group and see where we stand at that point. Really, the process will include, in this comprehensive review, the ability to present to you a recommendation K-8 with the goal of that first initial phase being implementation for 6-8.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
No, but what I'd like to do is on behalf of the board, just thank you and the entire committee for all of the work that you're doing on this process. We know this is not easy. And we know that there is a lot of intricacies that need to be done in order to get this recommended to the board. And then, you know, we will take that consideration at the April 7th meeting. And so I just want to thank every single teacher, every single committee person, and all of you for all of your hard work in this process and helping us understand what are the needs of the district, but also how can we be the best partners to our teachers and to our students to ensure that we're educating the whole child. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we will extend that gratitude to our committee members and definitely grateful for the leadership that Tanner and Veronica have demonstrated throughout. Thank you.
All right, we're going to E3, financial report. The submitted monthly report provides the district's financial status as of the report date, March 17th, 2022. Going to F1, public comment. There is no public comment today. Going to G, approval of consent agenda items, G1. I call for a motion that the governing board approve consent agenda items G2 through G10. G2 through G10. Do I have a motion?
I move that we consent agenda items G2 through G10.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving to H1, comments from governing board members.
I wish the folks who came for public comment had stuck around, but when I joined the governing board, I was maybe a little idealistic. I remember I came on board thinking that I'd be able to, as a former student of this district, there was lots of things that I remember growing up with that as I worked as an architect and saw these new schools and get built and touring them and just seeing what they had and what we didn't. And I thought, well, I come here and I'm going to make sure we have the best schools. I don't want any more students in our portable classroom buildings that I attended when I was a student here 15, 20 years ago. And I remember thinking that, you know, I could come in here and help direct more money into our classrooms to support our teachers and support our students. And I'm now in my 3rd year as a governing board member, and the realities of what our district is working with are much more stark than what my idealistic self thought. And as you can see, even 3 years later, that we still have students in those same portable classroom buildings. We don't have a bunch of new state-of-the-art buildings for our students to enjoy. We do have gymnasiums and stuff like that, but that's not really the point I'm trying to make. It's just it's hard to do this job when we're consistently in the bottom 3 states in per pupil funding. And it forces us to make tough decisions, like the one that we're dealing with currently with Gia, in that you see how motivated our parents are, you see how great of a job our staff is doing. And we're up here and it breaks my heart that there's nothing we can do. It's just, it's heartbreaking, to be honest. I wish there was more I can do. That's what I'd like to say.
I will, I'll also address Gia in a way, you know, when looking at the Choice Learning Academy and Gia, I couldn't help but on the bright side of things that there is a potential in this move that I hope that it takes place, and there's an opportunity for Gia and Choice to grow in this area. There are definitely dangers, and there's some things that we're gonna have to wrestle through. But as my kids are in ATS, you know, that campus is on 27th and Bethany Home, but ATS has continued to flourish, and people come from all over the city to go to that school because of the standards that they have. And I believe that the Choice Learning Academy can also be a candlestick school like that, where people can come from all over to attend that for the unique opportunities there and the excellent teaching and instruction that is there. I hope that we can see that at work and we can see it grow. And so, as far as I go as a board member, I will continue to support the Choice Learning Academy, Gia, its potential, what can happen there, just the practical matters of any family that has boys and girls where they can attend one campus. I think that's a massive, just practical advantage for that campus. And so, as best as Mr. Solara said, we can't control some things, but as best as we are able, I do continue to pledge my support toward that campus and towards that program. And my hope and my intention is to see it flourish. And so that's my statement on that.
Thank you both for your comments. I think I could not have said it any better. You certainly expressed my feelings about the situation we're in right now. I have been a public school educator. I was a public school educator for 50 years. It is disheartening to me to see year after year after year how people in the higher up levels of government above us on the school board continue to think there are things more important than the education of our children. Their priorities are amazingly out of place in my mind. I don't know how we expect a society to continue to grow when we do not put funding into the importance of public school education. Having said all that, I agree that we need to continue our support of both the Choice Learning Academy, which is in my neighborhood, and GIA. And not only those two, but all of our other campuses who are trying new and different things. The GAP is a new initiative that we have worked really hard on. I don't know what the next year will bring, but I know that our leadership team is out there looking at all kinds of innovations and ways that we can bring students into our schools and support the needs of not only the students, but the families. One of the things that we've been looking at is a dual language program, which isn't necessarily innovative, but it is something that we do not have. There's all sorts of things happening in the world of education that I think our district is on the cutting edge and willing to look at as ways to provide better services to our students and our families. So thank you all for all your hard work that you do and you will continue to do as we expand and look at our opportunities. Maybe there's a BIA in our future, Boys Innovation Academy.
I am highly optimistic that GIA is going to flourish at Choice Learning Academy. I know it's really tough. We've had to close schools before, but when I look at the financial responsibility that we have, I know we have to make those tough decisions. When I think about money going, the only way you're making up that money is you're taking it from other schools. And as a parent, I would want to make sure whatever school my child's at, that they're getting all the resources they need. So that's a tough decision. I wish we had the people there, but there's always that opportunity. It will reopen over there if we grow it, right? Because it'll be too big for your place, right? Yes. No, yeah, I'm really hoping, and I hope that we are offering everybody tours so they can actually see it. I know I heard her mention Simpson. I know Simpson didn't have the best reputation, but it's not Simpson anymore. I've told you, I don't know how many times I have texted you and said, when I go by there, how beautiful that building is. So I think if we built it, they will come. And then I also want to say I was really excited about the AG report for our expenditures for our district. That was a really pleasant surprise to see that we are under budget. Not that I thought we'd be, not under, but under the average. Not that I thought we'd be over, but it really looks, it really looked beautiful. So I'm very excited about that. And you have done a very good job being fiscally responsible for our district.
Can I kind of piggyback on that? Because I'm not sure everybody understood what you're talking about. That report spells out how our district spends money in relation to administrative costs and monies directly going to the students and services that are provided to students. And the Attorney General reports that out and compares us to other districts. And so our district was definitely in the positive in that most of our money, we spend more money directly in student services than we do in administrative costs. And I think that's a plus to us. And as Mr. Solorio knows, I took that report and shared it to everybody in the legislature that I could possibly find to give it to, because they need to know that that's important to us, that we make sure our monies go where it counts, and that's with the students. Not that administrators aren't important, but the direct expenditures into classroom is really, really needed. So thank you for bringing that up, Kathleen. I had forgotten it.
Thank you. I'll start off by saying thank you, Principal Kim, so much for all of your leadership, for changing the lives of these GIA engineers. You've heard the public comments today of those learners that feel welcomed. They have self-confidence. They want to learn. And that's because of, so if we can give Principal Kim a round of applause. Thank you, Principal Kim, for creating a learning environment for my sister who has not, been bullied at your school and has felt that her teachers really care, and all the project-based learning. When I really enjoy the tours that I have when I go to your school, because the learners are the ones that are giving the tours, and they tell me about the projects that they're doing. They're telling me about their cooking. They're telling me about their the project-based learning. For example, having to plan a trip to somewhere abroad, having to understand how to get an airline ticket, how to plan an itinerary, how to cook the food of the local folks. Like, those are just amazing things. And I remember having the first 8th grade promotion last year, where you promoted 2 8th graders. And so there's so many things that I can tell you, and just tell you that I support you, and I love GIA. And never in my mind did I think that as the governing board president, I would have to consider closing a school institution that just means so much to me and my family. But when we look at our vision of educating the whole child, you all have done that. When we look at our mission of Alhambra Elementary School District will enrich the life of the whole child in collaboration with families and the greater community, will promote a social and global consciousness that encompasses a profound respect for all humanity. You all have done that. And our core values of building, extending trust, culture of continuous growth, doing the right thing, striving for excellence, strong work ethic, and valuing diversity, equity, and inclusion, you all have done that. But it comes down to the reality that we all understand is that we are at a deficit of $298,000. And frankly, if I had $298,000, I would just write a check and hope to keep GIA open. And so I think that just means that we all need to work a lot harder to advocate to our state legislature and to our policymakers to help us do the work that we know that we can do with the leaders that we have, with the leadership that we have, with the skills that we have, but we need the financial resources in order to get it done. And so looking forward, I really look forward to for GIA to grow at CLA. I know that they're in good hands, but I also look forward to the other schools on this side of the I-17 to also flourish as well with those learners. And so I think we can all take a little bit of a lesson about what GIA did and implement that in all of our schools, because we want every single parent to come to a board meeting and tell us that their kids are thriving, and we know that they are. I just want to highlight GIA and thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. And so as we make this difficult decision, we're doing it with one voice. We're doing it together and we're supporting one another, because in Alhambra, everyone matters. You matter, GIA matters, all of our teachers, all of our staff. And also don't forget the support staff, the maintenance staff, cafeteria workers, the office staff, everyone who's been investing their time, efforts, heart, and talents into that campus. And so you always have me on your side. And I just look forward to Alhambra and all of us growing together. Thank you. Moving to governing board direction and/or agenda item requests.
I was wondering if we could get an update of where we are with the solar panels for the parking, if we know whether or not that is feasible to put in our schools or not.
Anyone else? All right, moving to H3, comments from superintendent and executive team.
Good evening, everyone. We'll begin our comments with Mandy, please. Thank you.
Thank you, President Coches, members of the board, and Dr. Mayes. I have a quick update regarding the beautiful keys you see outside of our buildings. You may not know that it is a three-phase process. So for your understanding, the phases involve installation, establishing electrical service, and then training of staff. So if it's standing there blank, it's because we are not finished with all three phases. So we have 6 sites who are fired up and ready to go and have been trained. 1 site that is all ready to go and waiting training. 4 sites awaiting electrical service, and 2 sites that are still awaiting installation. I have 2 celebrations that I'm happy to bring to you. Transportation and HR have been working super hard, filling our positions in the transportation department. And this week we hired 3 bus assistants and 1 bus driver. Yeah. On the child nutrition front, ADE Health and Nutrition Services has approved our extension for the Provision 2 cycle. What this means for us is that we are able to claim breakfasts at 5 of our schools at the free and reduced price percentages that were made available in 2018. This holds us constant regardless of how our eligibility changes in the district. So it is financially a win in, for Alhambra. So that's exciting as well. And then a couple reminders. One, the groundbreaking update. Remember, we have the Valencia Newcomer and Global Academy of Phoenix Gymnasium on March 31st. And then if I haven't told you already, be awaiting a save the date on behalf of the Alhambra Education Partnership Board. We are once again hosting our annual golf tournament, and the save the date should be on its way, but just for your information, Cinco de Mayo. Thank you.
Thank you, President Conchas, governing board members, and Dr. Maez. We have some fun, and it's very random, not connected type of celebrations and news. First of all, we've started our Arizona Science State testing. So that's for our 5th and 8th graders, and so far so good. It's going pretty smooth. And then we will jump into ELA in math the first week of April. So we're doing well with that. I want to celebrate all the wonderful connecting to nature and literacy going on at the APA main campus. So they're getting a butterfly garden. Butterflies, I think, are on order through Amazon. I had no idea you could order butterflies through Amazon, but they're coming through their partnership with Valley of the Sun United Way and the Arizona Education for Young Children. They're getting an infrastructure, they're getting the cocoons, they're getting all that they need to set up the system. And it's going to be a collaboration between teachers, parents, and students to build this. So once the butterflies emerge from their cocoon, the students can sit and read books to the butterflies or just let the butterflies enjoy them. They'll have an outside library to do that. They're also redoing all of their plant boxes through a partnership with the Who I Am Foundation. And then Valley of the Sun is also supporting garden boxes with wheelchair access. So all of the kids can participate in that. And then Debbie Lesko is giving the preschool 100 books to support their literacy opportunities. So they're really connecting nature, literacy. They're going to be doing a lot of gardening. So I encourage you to stop by, but once they have it all in place. Otherwise, you're going to be doing some digging. And then I want to celebrate the Granada East Campus and Mr. Mitchell and his team. So this month they had their coffee talk, and they had about 45 parents show up to coffee talk, and they got to talk about things like high school and what that means and how to help their children prepare for high school, the right types of questions to ask when looking into high school and the partnerships. But that has grown from their very first coffee talk from one parent who had great comments to 45. So lots of great things going on.
Thank you both for those updates. I have a few as well, but want to begin mine first with just sharing the same heartbreak that Mr. Solorio spoke to. As I heard the parent, it's so hard as a superintendent. I know that you can't please everyone, but the fact is, as we lead and serve, we do. We know everyone's working hard, and so I think about the day-to-day trying to work hard to serve and make sure all our staff are happy, and as everyone's working hard for why we're all here, our kids, our community. And so at the same time, as you all have mentioned, these are hard decisions. I think about just the day-to-day. You mentioned transportation. I know we have many meetings with the leadership and transportation, and we need bus drivers. And what Vanessa will tell you is we need to pay them better. They require a CDL, a physical exam annually, and there's a lot of requirements. And because of that CDL, they can make significantly more anywhere else. But we know that we want them to choose to work here in Alhambra. And so how can we be more competitive? I know that it frequently comes up when I speak to teachers and staff about the start and end times for our schools, and can we have a more reasonable start and end time consistently throughout our schools? And because it creates various challenges. I even think about with Principal Tui in the audience. I mean, she has a student who I think of often who gets up at 3 a.m. because dad goes to work, and but school doesn't start until nearly 9 o'clock, and it's a long day for some of our kids getting out at 4 o'clock. And I've been there after 4 o'clock, and you still have kids that are waiting for the bus to come back around, and so again, we know those challenges. I think about, we mentioned our preschool, and we have, and actually, Claire, it reminds me of just your hard work HR has hired just over 277 classified employees this year. And it's just well, yes, so we want to celebrate that hard work, but I'm curious, Claire, I don't know if you know how many actual positions we're talking about, because what our HR department can tell you is it's a lot of, but they come, they love being a part of our district, but they're only making $12 an hour, and I know I received emails today from our preschool programs that are asking me to come problem solve with them because there's a lot of turnover in our preschool assistant positions. While we made some gains I'm proud of the increases we had for classified staff this year. The fact is we need to do better. And without the state acting and supporting us with our budgets, we've got to look internally and see how can we shift some of our funds to be able to meet these needs that continue to grow in our district. And so tough decisions, but we are doing our best to ensure that our kids are getting our very best. And I thank you for recognizing the numbers from the Auditor General, because I appreciated seeing that while we are above average in putting the dollars in the classrooms, there were increases this year too, just from the efforts of our team, making sure more dollars are going into the classrooms to support our kids. So again, these are things we're all looking at. We appreciate everyone's hard work. Speaking specifically to the strategic plan, I know everyone was very excited about all the work that took place in our educational services department actually just yesterday. So Wednesday, it's been a long week. But so thank you to Raul and the educational services leadership and all our teachers who across the district yesterday worked hard on identifying the essential standards for our district in all grade levels and content areas. And just people are really excited about the work that we're doing to ensure that our kids are learning and that our teachers and staff feel like they can do the job that's being asked of them. Back to HR efforts. Thank you, Claire, and our HR team for the career fair that we have on April 6th. So mark your calendars, everyone, and we look forward to seeing who we can bring in and share the great work that's being done here in Alhambra. That's from 4 to 6 p.m., like I said, here in the boardroom. And so again, a lot of great things going on, people working very hard. I know y'all want to get out of here, but I did want to share. I met with our ADEA site leaders. Thank you to our Tanner and Veronica for leading that, our ADEA. Some great things, a lot of enthusiasm about student council starting back up, field day, field trips, avid recruitment and all, read better, be betters launched, and older kids are having fun reading with younger kids at Cordova. Shauna Becker was so excited about her Talk About It Club, and she's getting a ton of kids filling the multi-purpose room there that just want to talk. They miss just being able to get together after school. And so it's so nice to hear about all the great things. And Mr. Mitchell, that you were celebrated too, our staff, I hear you're having lunch with the teachers. And teams are getting a chance to take a turn and have lunch with you. And so people are really excited about those types of things. And like I said, people are working really hard. And I just can't thank everyone enough for all that you do for our kids in our community. So thank you. Good night. And yes. And as far as as far as a pandemic update, I meant to bring my numbers that were on my desk, but it continues to look better for our community. And so we are looking forward to continuing conversations about how we can lift mitigation. I know that a number of teachers have reached out to me expressing a desire to just see some of the mitigation lifted, while at the same time people are still concerned and we want to be able to meet those needs. And so I know that our board had an opportunity to preview communication going out tomorrow, but we are feeling like we need to start working to align our practices closer to CDC or to CDC guidelines. And so everyone look forward to an update in your email tomorrow. And then we look forward to our next board meeting, continuing to have conversations about how we can align, since it is much safer. And so we are very thankful for that. Thank you.
Conscious. Thank you for your report. And I don't mean to add on to it, but I want to express my appreciation for the amount of people we hired in the classified positions, because we have to recognize that many of those people live in our community, and that not only are we helping our schools to get personnel in, we're helping our community by giving jobs and providing jobs for many of our family members.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. And thank you, Dr. Mayas, Ms. Billiou, Ms. Gonzalez, and the entire team. Going to I1, meeting closing, I1, next governing board meeting will be April 7th, 2022, and it'll be a regular meeting, so we will start at 6 p.m. I2 calendar of events. On March 31st, 2022, the Global Academy of Phoenix and Valencia New Neighborhood School gymnasium groundbreaking will take place in the morning. I believe it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning. If you if you need the times, contact Dana. April 6th, 2022, from 4 to 6 p.m., we will have the AESD Career Fair here in this boardroom. So please invite as many folks as possible. We'd love to see them here. Going to I3 adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.